The 90s, the decade that kept on pumping out sci-fi. So what the hell is Island City? Simply put, think Stargate Atlantis meets Resident Evil meets Walking Dead. Sometime in the future, scientists created the holy grail of drugs that rewrote the human DNA, nicknamed the Fountain of Youth, stopping the aging process completely. So millions flocked to the drug, but there's always a catch. Certain people ended up mutating. If you had a recessive gene that interfered with the drug, as well as children being a mixture of different genes from their parents, these people turned into monsters basically. Their intelligence dropped, while other aspects like strength, resistance to pain, heightened senses were increased. So the planet was ravaged, Earth got deadly electrical storms, the ecosystem looks destroyed, at least in the movie's location. So people created the oasis called Island City. Not much is known past this. It's not like how Walking Dead ended up. It's way more organized and safe. I'm thinking eventually the mutations were put under control, random luck, or people stopped taking the youth injection in general. But cities around the planet had to become walled-off communities. The idea was interesting. There's a military organization called the RCF. They're sent out to rescue people, either who were kidnapped by recessives, chose to live out in these conditions, or their primary goal to capture, study, and find a cure for the mutants. The TV movie didn't get good ratings, so the planned series never got greenlit, and it only aired, that I know of, once. I was expecting it to become a series. That came and went. The cast was quite large. You had Brenda Strong playing Dr. Samantha Helding. You probably recognize her from Starship Troopers and the nurse in Spaceballs. Eric McCormick plays Greg 23. You remember him from Will and Grace. Greg 23 was the 23rd experiment out of 43 in trying to make a super soldier of some kind. I guess the military saw the Recessives as potential for an army, so they tried to play God again. Now you have most clones that are mentally dysfunctional. Constance Marie as Connie Soleil, of course her biggest role, Angie Lopez in the George Lopez Show. Peter Koch as Michael Mandy, the half-recessive, half-human who was added to the team. And lastly, the main lead, Kevin Conroy as Tom Baldoon. Yes, that Kevin Conroy. That's the main reason why I checked out the movie. The plot is pretty straightforward. A woman and her family living on the outskirts was attacked by a pack of wrecks. Husband killed, children gone missing. One of the RCF members, Andy Soleil, gets separated, so they had to find him throughout the film, as well as rescuing around 40 people who were outside for 30 years. Everything's explained through Dr. Helding's lost sister, who was found in this group. She's the main comedic character, has this aloof nature to her, likes to go after Baldoon on many occasions. Plus, a smaller character, Connie's son, acts as a way to break from the main group. The acting, for the most part, was good, but when Sam's sister came in, it didn't feel like she's been in hell for 30 years.
Sammy? Oh my God. I thought you were... I almost was.
I'm Bruce.
And I'm married.
Sorry. Excuse me.
I'm not. Married, I mean.
I was very surprised how good the movie got to use everyone. In lots of pilots, there's so much stuff to get through, usually the characters can't get focused on, so things are put off in future episodes. I guess luckily in this case, everyone was fleshed out. Even the guy that went missing with Connie and her son, we were able to get who he is through VR and stories. Baldoon is your traditional leader, stern but not overbearing, lonely, doesn't mingle with many people, not perfect. When he and Helding almost let their emotions get the better of them, he had a sense of responsibility to everyone and the people outside. He does hold some guilt to what happened. His father was the one who created the drug, so maybe he's trying to make up for those failings, regardless if he admits to it or not.
My father has got nothing to do with this discussion.
With all due respect, sir, he has everything to do with it. Your guilt is more dangerous to this unit than the wrecks themselves.
Greg 23, the tech dude, the most stable of the 43 copies, the only defect he really got is that he can't fight. He has no coordination whatsoever.
Why do you do that? You think maybe my DNA code is going to change all of a sudden? Maybe give me some coordination?
I'm sorry. I guess I keep hoping you'll improve.
Dr. Helding, one of the main medical officers for the city, open person, extremely strict in regulations. I think born from all the hardships she went through. Remember, these people are older than they look. Sam's chronological age is 59. She is married, but with her always gone and her husband being against taking the drug, he has resentments toward her and everyone around him. I understand that perspective. Even if you ignore the mutations, not aging is unnatural. This would bring up huge limitations on society. Population growth would have to be basically halted. That's the reason why I found the series quite interesting. If it had gone past the pilot, people like Sam's husband could be expanded on. The ethical issues towards recessives, people can have sex with anyone they want, there's restrictions with blood types, everyone has a gem on their chest from purple, red, blue, green, you can only date someone in that color group. Black, the rarest, meaning you can't have sex with anyone at all. Plus, you're stuck in a city with a force field and can't get out. There's many episodes that can be spawned from these basic setups. We also know hybrid recessives are possible thanks to Mandy, so what if there was a colony out there? That type of conflict I think would have been great to see as a season finale. Connie Soleil, she was pretty unique, the boring bureaucrat, but you didn't hate her for that because she doesn't act like those pencil pushers that sit behind a desk, that doesn't understand war, hardship, lives. She's been in the military, she's a qualified weapons officer who eventually joins in the search for her husband. Some fun moments trickle around the movie, like Connie's son playing around in VR, with his mom burning him with some parental lockouts in his simulation. I'll leave that up to your imagination. I thought I would have really liked Valdoon the most, but Michael Mandy stole it from me. He wasn't afraid to stand up to Valdoon and express his issues with him. He's had a crappy life being half mutant.
I don't know if they gave you special treatment at the academy, Lieutenant. But
Yes, sir, they did. They tried to drive me out. I had to perform twice as well as everybody else.
He does have faults. He almost killed a few recessives out of anger, but Valdoon reminded him of his duty. Plus, he gained a friendship with Greg once they both realized they were in the same boat of being freaks and picked on. It's a nice check and balance friendship between the three guys. While I do like the movie and it easily could have been a TV show, the pilot had issues. The pacing was off. It felt like this was originally a single episode pilot extended into a 2-hour movie. There was a lot of downtime in the middle. They're using the time to explain the rules in the universe, but it wasn't really interesting enough. I mean, they had the two sisters go up in an elevator, give exposition, then go down the elevator and eat dinner. So the only reason why you did that was for the audience. The second half of the movie got way better. If they had lopped off, I think, 20 minutes, I think it would have flowed more easily. Andy does get rescued, the missing kids that were also lost with him as well. Plus, Michael got the respect from the team risking his life in the energy storm. Now, if you haven't noticed, what does Island City remind you of? We have a team that explores and helps people, recessives that want to attack a city with an energy field. We have a doctor named Samantha Helding, a hyperactive guy who can't really fight, stunning weapons that shoot blue energy bolts, a character that's an outsider that earns the trust of the team, teleporting doorways in the city. The team number is HL1, and even a background character was called Chulak.
Sergeant Chulak, report to Command Unit 3. Sergeant Chulak to Command Unit 3, please.
If you haven't guessed by now, Island City is filled with elements that ended up in Stargate SG-1 and Stargate Atlantis. How is that possible? Jonathan Glassner, the creator of SG-1, wrote this movie pilot. He recycled his ideas. You have to give Island City some credit in that regard. Glassner learned from his mistakes from Island City. When you watch SG-1's pilot, it's structured very similar to this movie, but Glassner kept the pace flowing in Children of the Gods. He didn't make that mistake twice. Glassner's pretty good in writing characters. All the drama, the conflict, he knew how to keep you interested. In some ways, I'm glad Island City didn't take off. We wouldn't have gotten Stargate, but it was a lost opportunity of potential. A few of the actors did eventually guest on Stargate. Seeing Kevin Conroy in a live action role was the coolest part of the movie. I didn't know he acted. Still played like Batman in some moments, even in some cases you can hear him use his Batman voice.
Progress 23.
I personally think the series would have worked. The CGI on shows was very expensive back in '94. It's probably one of the main reasons why they didn't go with it. The designs were okay. Flipped monitors and the mobile bases were like storm chaser vehicles for tornadoes. It felt futuristic, but it didn't go all the way. They used regular guns and such. The only thing that lacked was the Recessives. They said their intelligence went down, but they still can operate guns and stuff. They have a form of communication, so they have to be smarter than cavemen and women. It's just a bit confusing without any more details. Sadly, this was never released on VHS or DVD. It's a real loss to time. Warner Brothers owns it, so it really can't be put with, like, say, Stargate, that's MGM. Too bad they didn't put it in a Batman set for Mr. Conroy. If anyone knows if it was released somewhere, leave a comment. Thanks for checking out the video. Leave a thumbs up if you liked it. Leave a thumbs down if you hated it. And if you remember a movie or a show from the past that's long been forgotten, good or bad, leave it as a suggestion below. I'm always on the lookout for obscured stuff.